back to Unimonks. My name is Padmanjali Chauhan and I'll be teaching you for the CUET history domain. Today, we're going to start with our fourth unit of the syllabus, A History of Buddhism Sanchi Stupa. In this chapter, we're going to be talking about the Jaina traditions and the Buddhist traditions, especially keeping the Sanchi Stupa in the center while understanding the Buddhist thought, the Buddhist ideas, all right, and how the Sanchi Stupa helped us recreate these thoughts and ideas. Okay, now, before we begin, let us understand two very important people related to the Sanchi Stupa. Okay, the rulers of Bhopal, Shah Jahan Begum and Sultan Jahan Begum. Sorry, I'll change the color of my pen so that's easily visible. Shah Jahan Begum and Sultan Jahan Begum funded the preservation of the Sanchi Stupa. Alright, apart from that, Shah Jahan Begum funded the guest house at which the archaeologists lived during the excavations of the Sanchi Stupa. Okay, apart from the guest house, Sultan Jahan Begum, apart from the guest house, Shah Jahan Begum funded the museum that was built at the site and some of the volumes of the publication that were written about the Sanchi Stupa. Alright, this is Shah Jahan Begum. Okay, now John Marshall, because of the generosity that both the women showed, John Marshall dedicated some of his publications to Shah Jahan Begum. Okay, the discovery of the Sanchi Stupa vastly transformed our thinking, our understanding of Buddhism as a whole. All right, and we'll learn more about this as we go further into the chapter. Okay, now let's give you a little bit of a background, okay, before we start with the thoughts and the ideas. With the first millennium BCE, we see the emergence of new thinkers. All right, Zarathustra in Iran, Kongzi in China, Socrates, Plato and Aristotle in Greece, and most importantly, Mahavir and Gautam Buddha in India. Alright, now keeping these two men in highlight, Mahavir and Gautam Buddha were trying to understand the mysteries of existence, the relationship between human beings and the cosmic order, right? Very philosophical stuff. But apart from philosophy, they were also trying to understand the developing social and economic changes taking place in the Ganga Valley, right? Obviously, we see from the last two chapters, you know that new states, new kingdoms, new cities are developing, are coming up in the Ganga Valley, right? Because of that, social order, economic order, the practical life as we know it was changing, correct? And Gautam Buddha and Mahavir were trying to understand exactly what that was, okay, trying to understand the changes of the social life at the time. Now, the sacrificial tradition. The Rig Veda, a Hindu text, consists of hymns in praise of Agni, Indra and Soma, alright? These are all gods, Hindu gods that we pray to, okay? Now, these hymns were chanted when sacrifices were being performed, okay? Initially, sacrifices were performed collectively by the community, okay, coming together as a unit, taking part in the rituals. But later, these sacrifices were performed only by heads of households for the well-being of the domestic unit, okay? The Rajasuya and Ashwamedha were performed by chiefs and kings. You should know about both Rajasuya and Ashwamedha, alright? Ashwamedha especially is related, has a story about Lord Ram. If you know the story, tell me in the comments down below, alright? Now, new questions started coming up because of these sacrificial traditions and ritualism taking place, okay? We know this because the Upanishads that were written in the 6th century BC, they show that people started questioning the meaning of life and the possibility of life after death and the idea of rebirth, okay? What happens to one after they die? The concept of Swarg and Nark, right? Hell and heaven. The idea of rebirth, are we reborn because of what we did in our previous life? All of these questions started rising up, okay? thinkers were concerned with understanding and expressing the nature of the ultimate reality. Okay, they were trying to understand what the ultimate reality was. Once a person passes on, where do they pass on to? Do you become dirt, soil, mud, or do you pass on to another reality? Okay, and they were also trying to understand if there is only one single ultimate reality. They question this as well, right? Is there only heaven or only hell? Are there other places we can move on to after our life ends? All of this also led to the speculation of the significance of sacrificial tradition, right? If there was rebirth, if there was no rebirth, if there was no afterlife, then why were we performing these sacrificial traditions? Why were we performing these sacrifices, these rituals? What was the point behind all of this? Correct? Because nothing's changing in our reality right now. We're all doing it for the next life, right? But does really anything change in the next life? Is there a next life? Now, debates and discussions. The Buddhist texts mention 64 sects or schools of thought. Okay, now teachers of these schools of thought traveled everywhere professing and talking about their philosophy. Okay, trying to get people to understand and convert to their school of thought. Okay, debates took place between teachers and philosophers of different schools of thoughts at places called Kutagarshāla, okay, literally meaning a hut with a pointed roof, okay. Now, with these debates, during these debates, if a philosopher convinced his rival about his philosophy, convinced his rival of his philosophy, of the validity of his philosophy, his followers, the followers of the latter became his, all right. The sects, because of this, the schools of thoughts grew and shrunk over time, okay? They were constantly changing, all right? Now, Mahavir and Buddha questioned the authority of the Vedas. We know this. We talked about this in previous chapters as well, where Buddhist texts condemned the idea of determining one's status by birth, right? Apart from that, they also emphasized individual agency, okay, that a person could attain liberation from the trials and tribulations of worldly existence by committing penance, by performing penance over here in this life, all right? You could attain liberation from your status, from whatever troubles you have, okay, or whatever troubles you've caused in this life itself, okay, in order to live a liberated life, a happier life, a more peaceful life, all right? Now, the message of Mahavir. Before Vardhaman or Vardhaman/Mahavir, the Jain tradition had 23 Tirthankaras. What are Tirthankaras? They are literally those who guide people across the river of existence, the river of existence, all right? Tirthankaras are those who guide the people across the river of existence, men and women, okay? Now, the message of the Jain tradition is very simple. The entire world is animated, okay? Everybody has feelings, everybody is living, okay? Even stones, rocks, water, rivers, everybody has feelings, okay? They're animated beings, all right? Non-injury to living beings, okay? Whether they be humans, not just humans actually, whether they be insects, animals, okay? Anything, plants, the nature, just non-injury in general, okay? Do not hurt someone intentionally or unintentionally also, okay? The idea of ahimsa, which is rooted in our nationalist movement, right? Ahimsa, non-violence, came up from this idea, from this Jain idea of non-injury, okay? Ahimsa, very important. According to Jain texts, the cycle of birth and rebirth was shaped through karma, okay? One could perform penance and asceticism to free oneself from this cycle of birth and rebirth. All right, in this life itself, karma, you know what karma is, right? We've all seen the memes, we've all seen Mean Girls, you know exactly what karma is. Now, in order to rid yourself of this karma, you have to perform penance and asceticism to free oneself, to free yourself from the cycle, from this constant, never-ending cycle of birth and rebirth. All right? Now, the Jain monks took 5 vows. Okay? What were these 5 vows? Abstain from killing, stealing, and lying. Okay? These are 3 vows. Abstain from killing, 1 vow. Abstain from stealing, the 2nd. And abstain from lying, the 3rd. Alright? Apart from this, they were also asked to observe celibacy. Okay? Observe celibacy and abstain from possessing property. Okay? No material wealth should be on you. Abstain from possessing property. Alright? These were the 5 vows that the Jain monks had to take on. Okay? Jainism, as a result, because of its very sweet messages of non-injury, alright? Of everything, of the world being animated, right? There were sweet messages, there were nice messages, okay? Because of this, Jainism was spread across the subcontinent, alright? You see literature about Jainism coming up in different languages, Sanskrit, Pali, Tamil, alright? All of them talked about this, okay? We know about this literature because they have been preserved at the libraries in the Jain temples, alright? Because they're so well preserved, we know exactly what the thoughts and the ideas and the traditions were of Jainism, okay? Devotees, we've also seen stone sculptures related to the religious traditions of Jainism being erected by devotees of certain Tirthankaras across the subcontinent. Several parts of the subcontinent, we've seen these sculptures, okay? Alright guys, that's it for today's class. Thank you so much for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions to ask me about what I taught in this class, about anything else, trivial knowledge, leave it in the comments down below. And for more such informational content, subscribe to Unimonks. Thank you. Bye.